After a 1-3 start to the year, the Elmira Pioneers have taken 2 of their last 3 games. On this Father's Day, the Americans will take them on, looking to stay on track after a big win over the Ironbacks on Saturday night. It's the Americans, it's the Pioneers, it's PGCBL baseball right here on the Americans Baseball Network.
That the ace of the Giant pitching staff that season was Niagara Falls native Sal Magley. A league-low 2.71 earned run.
They chose Niagara Falls because of the stadium, because of the history, because they believe in Niagara Falls.
Tickets 716-215-6161.
And where do you play?
We play right at Sal Magley, gorgeous stadium.
Set the 1-0 to Boyle. Is hammered to right field.
Go, baby, go, baby. Go,
Come
baby,
here,
go,
fence.
Baby.
That ball is way out of here.
Welcome back to Dunfield here in Elmira for Niagara Falls Americans baseball against the Elmira Pioneers. And before we get started, I'd like to take the time to thank all of our Americans' dads who have been some of the biggest supporters of the team, whether it be at games or right here on the live stream. Most of all, I'd like to thank my dad, Ken, who has supported my broadcast career from day one and given excellent feedback on these broadcasts. Him, as well as my grandfather, Fred, introduced me to Red Sox baseball from a very young age, and baseball has been my favorite sport and my passion ever since. Happy Father's Day to my dad, my grandpa, and all the other dads watching. But without further ado, we are going to take a look at the PGCBL standings headed into this game. The Newark Pilots are on top at 6-1-1. The Americans right on their tail at 7-2. Muck Dogs surpassed the Tarp Skunks for the 3 seed in the playoff picture with a big win yesterday. Doubledays fall back down to 500 after they lost to the Pilots. Pioneers took down the Red Wings. They are now starting to get in the playoff hunt as well, and the Ironbacks and Red Wings are in the basement 1-6 and 0-8 respectively. So we are going to have baseball underway in just a moment here. Happy Father's Day to all the dads tuning in. And while we wait, we will give you the lineup for the Niagara Falls Americans. Leading off, it's going to be Grant Moore in center field. He is off to a 9-game hit streak to start the season. Shane Prey will bat second and play third. Nick Pass, the catcher, batting third. Paul Delanto, the cleanup hitter for the 3rd consecutive game, one of the biggest power bats on the team. Graydon Miller bats fifth after a 2-for-3 night with 3 RBIs. Derek Jesmondi bats sixth and plays left. Carmen Panaro, the right fielder, batting seventh. Logan Stickler, the number 8 hitter and extra hitter. Alan Ramos back at short, batting ninth. And to round out the lineup, it'll be Connor Kiefer back in the lineup at second base. So the Pioneers' starting pitcher today to face these Americans will be Michael Geisler. This is going to be his first start of the season for Elmira, first game of the season for Elmira, but he was a Pioneer last year, went 2-3 with a 5.15 ERA and 34 strikeouts as a starting pitcher. A Massachusetts native as well from the Peabody-Wilmington area. So love to see that out here in the PGCBL as the Pioneers mascot Stitches is coming out to the field right now on a golf cart. But the Americans looking for their 2nd consecutive win here today after they were swept by the Doubledays on Wednesday, or rather Thursday and Friday. Then the win over the Ironbacks yesterday got them back on track. Big 9-5 victory. The Bats got going once again, and when the Bats are hot for this team, the Americans are near unstoppable. So we'll have to see if the Pioneers can silence them tonight with a new pitcher on the mound, Michael Geisler, coming from Northern Essex Community College. We'll turn it over to the Elmira Pioneers lineup. It'll be Dylan Fatovich leading things off in center field. TJ Gramesti, the right fielder, bats second. He's been the superstar for the Pioneers so far, batting .563 with a 1521 OPS. John Simmons will follow him up, the extra hitter, bats third. Anthony Manganiello, the catcher, batting cleanup. Brendan Hammer will bat fifth and play third. Ty Martineau, the second baseman, batting sixth. Shane Starr, the DH, bats seventh. Aiden Grabowski, the second-year player, at shortstop, batting eighth. Brooks Hicken at first base. And then Benjamin Rohde in left field, usually the center fielder, but shifting over to make way for Fadovich. So this Pioneers lineup really headlined by that 2 through 6 group, each and every one of them batting .375 or higher, and the 2 through 5 hitters, all with OPSs over 1,000. So a great lineup here for these Pioneers. They've really started to get going over these last few games. As I mentioned, to kick off the broadcast, they've won 2 out of 3, split the doubleheader on Friday with Batavia, and then went into Geneva and beat the Red Wings last night. Red Wings off to an 0-8 start to the season, really just haven't been able to get things right out of the gate here. And they lost 20-3 back when they played the Americans. So not as crushing a defeat against the Pioneers, but still Elmira able to win comfortably in that one. And here comes manager Andrew Drum out onto the field for the Pioneers, as the pregame ceremonies are underway here at Dunn Field. We'll have baseball in just a moment, and we will take a break as we get ready for the national anthem.
Welcome to the field, Act 129, as they honor America and present tonight's colors. Now, fans, please stand and remove your hats as we welcome Burroughs Trumpet Studio to perform tonight's national anthem.
Back here on the Americans Baseball Network as we get ready to get underway here at Dunn Field. It's the Americans and the Pioneers. And in this top of the first inning coming up here, it'll be Grant Moore, Shane Prey, and Nick Past to kick things off for the Americans against the right-handed pitcher Michael Geisler. But first, we'll have a ceremonial first pitch out on the field. Here it is. And that'll drop pretty close, but Andrew Drum out there to celebrate Father's Day on this ceremonial first pitch. Drum, the manager of these Pioneers, recently recorded his 100th career win. That came on Friday against the Muck Dogs. And Michael Geisler now warming up for the Pioneers. It's his first game this season. Pioneers have used a number of different starters to kick things off this year. Owen Hoyt making his debut on Friday. Bobby Boeing starting the opening game. Andrew Jones, Brendan Hayes have had their turns. Garrett Rashawn up to 2 starts now. He has a 3.73 ERA, one of the better ERAs amongst starters on the team. But Geisler, a 5.15 ERA last year, looking to improve upon that in year 2 here in Elmira. And Grant Moore will look to extend his 9-game hit streak when he comes up to bat. A lot of those hits have come to lead off the game. He had a leadoff hit streak going for a little bit as well. And hoping to start a new one here after he led last night's game against the Ironbacks off with a single. Also had a triple in Auburn on Thursday, or Friday rather. And Brady Toney will serve once more as the first base coach for the Americans. He's expected to pitch later in the game, but him and Will Cordero have established that rapport at the corners of the bases. Will Cordero has taken charge and signaling to his hitters from third base. A new sign system developed just a few days ago, and some players have benefited from it absolutely. It definitely helped out last night when the Americans scored 9 runs against the Ironbacks. And here comes Grant Moore. His numbers on the year, now batting .455 with an 1167 OPS. Has driven in 7 runs and stolen 12 bases. Grant Moore won PGCBL Position Player of the Week in the West Division this past week, and he has continuously proved that that award was well deserved. Grant Moore on a 9-game hit streak. As second baseman Ty Martineau meeting briefly with the pitcher Geisler. The Americans getting hyped up as this game is about to get underway here at Dunn Field. And Grant Moore will be the first customer for Michael Geisler on the entire season here in Elmira. Grant Moore, the stolen base leader in the West Division with his 12, and he will take a ball as we get underway here from Dunn Field. And he will drive that up the middle. Martineau will field it and throw it to Hicken for out number 1. So 1 down here at Dunn Field as Grant Moore goes down early here. And unfortunately, no leadoff hit for him today, but he'll have plenty of opportunities to extend that hit streak as Shane Prey comes up to bat next. Prey on the year with a batting average of .381. Very impressive. OPS of .838. Pitch from Geisler will go in the inside corner of the zone for strike one. So one down and one strike on Prey. As the 0-1 is tipped foul behind the plate. Shane Prey has been a rock at third base for these Americans. We'll see what he can do here at the plate. It's a ground ball. Fielded at shortstop by Grabowski, and another ground out. 2 consecutive ground outs against these Americans as Nick Past will look to avoid this becoming a 1-2-3 inning. Past this season is batting .333 with an .879 OPS, catching for the second consecutive day. Not many Americans who have done that this season, but a swing and miss for strike one on Past. That'll also find the strike zone, so 1 strike away is Michael Geisler. That'll be an outside ball to make it a 1-2 count. And it is driven on the comebacker to Geisler. He'll send it to first base. And Past was signaling he was safe. Umpire says no. We will head to the bottom of the first after the break.
No, I'm kind of thirsty. Me too. Could really use something. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yankee Doodle Man. That's better.
Back here for the bottom of the first inning as C.J. Hurley will kick things off here for the Americans on the mound. It's Hurley on the year, making his second start, a 7.71 ERA, 7 strikeouts. He last appeared actually on Thursday when the Americans hosted the Doubledays, went 3 innings scoreless in that game. So we're going to build off that after a mixed bag of results against Batavia in the opening day start for the Americans. He'll face Dylan Fatovich, TJ Gramesti, and John Simmons in this bottom of the first inning here from Dunfield. Hurley, a product of Niagara University. They make up a lot of this team. 5 players now with the new addition of John Ondas coming from NU. And here he is, Dylan Fatovich will be the leadoff man today for the Pioneers, batting .176 with a .440 OPS thus far. And we'll take ball 1 low to kick off this bottom of the first. Did not have much on that one. And it heads to the foul side of the first base line. So Fadovich will look to take a bigger swing here with the 1-1 count. Here it comes from Hurley. And that finds the bottom edge of the strike zone to make it 1-2. Fadovich, a three-sport athlete in high school, swings and misses. And down he goes. Out number 1. CJ Hurley, 1 batter faced, 1 strikeout here in Elmira. Interestingly, Hurley's first start came against one of the other Can USA teams in this West Division at Batavia. Now here at Elmira against the third team owned by Can USA Sports, as strike 1 is fouled off behind the plate by TJ Gramesti. Product of FAU. Did not play there his freshman year, but showing why he is a high-level Division I athlete. .563 batting average, 1521 OPS as a Pioneer. And Gramesti takes the ball inside to even up the count. And that is driven up the middle for the base hit. TJ Gramesti is on first. Here in this bottom of the first inning, the first base runner that CJ Hurley has led on. John Simmons, the next customer for Hurley. .375 batting average, 1163 OPS. Third consecutive Division I hitter that Hurley will face. And he had a .324 batting average as a sophomore at Liberty. Bit of a down year there, but he's picked it right back up here in the summer. And strike 1 will find the outside corner with 1 down and 1 on. As these Pioneers look to strike first here at Dunn Field. And that's in a very similar spot. CJ Hurley painting the corners, and it's what these Niagara University pitchers have done all season. What a lot of Americans pitchers have done all season, regardless of where they go to school. It's been a great strategy to get quick outs as Simmons stays alive with the foul ball. So 2 strikes on John Simmons. Hurley looking to finish it right here. But it's a fly ball into right center field. And 3 guys coming to grab it. There's a collision between Connor Kiefer and the right fielder Carmen Panaro. Kiefer slow to get up, but seems to be all right there. We'll hope that's the case, as it's runners on first and second here for the Pioneers. We'll wait for the ruling here. They will rule that a hit. So the second hit of the day for the Pios here in this bottom of the first, as Anthony Manganiello, the catcher today, will bat cleanup. 400 batting average, 1025 OPS. Comes from Division II Northwood and takes ball 1. Both runners have a lead. It's Gramesti now at second and Simmons at first. The ground ball picked up by Prey at third base, thrown across the field for out number 2. But nonetheless, it's a productive out as the Pioneers advance their runners to second and third. So 2 runners in scoring position as Brendan Hammer comes to the plate. And his name is pretty fitting. He has a hammer for a bat. .667 batting average, 1333 OPS so far this season. Another product of Northwood, a couple of these Northwood players batting back-to-back here in the Pios lineup. Northwood has 3 players on this Pioneers team Simmons on second and Gramessi on third as strike one finds the bottom part of the zone. Both runners have a lead once again here in this bottom of the first inning with 2 down. And it's a ground ball, this time picked up by Ramos. The throw to first in time for out number 3. So the Americans will get out of this inning with no damage despite 2 hits given up. We'll be right back. Ever dreamed of playing catch right here at Sal Magley Stadium? Well, join us June 22nd for a post-game catch on the field. Back for the top of the second inning, and this second inning here on the Americans Baseball Network is brought to you by Bully Hill Vineyards, a great place to grab lunch and taste over 40 different wines. Go to bullyhillvineyards.com for more. And in this second inning, Michael Geisler will keep pitching to these Americans. 2 up in the order, Paul Delanto, as well as Graydon Miller and Derek Jesmondi. Delanto, the cleanup hitter for these Americans today, DHing once more. He's DH'd many of the Americans' games this season, also saw a game behind the plate. 364 hitter, one of 2 Americans to hit a home run, and it's all led to a 1122 OPS. Delanto has been one of the best hitters on a consistent basis in this Americans lineup. And we'll have to see if he can get them their first hit of the day here in this top of the second inning. Pioneers had 2 hits in that bottom of the first, but unable to cash in for a run. So the Americans still have an opportunity here to strike first. And Paul Delanto might be the man to do it. Leads the team in runs batted in with 10. But with the bases empty, looking to just either get on or possibly even get his second home run of the season as he takes ball 1 inside. Delanto comes from Stony Brook University. And this great season here for the Americans should earn him some more playing time when he's back there in the spring. Did not see the field for them in his freshman year, but a 450 hitter back in high school, so the Americans knew what they were getting in Delanto. He grounds it to the third baseman, Hammer. Throw across the field is in time for out number 1. And these Americans just keep grounding out here early in the game. Pioneers infield has done a great job here. It's Brendan Hammer at third, Aiden Grabowski at short, Ty Martineau at second, and Brooks Hicken at first. Graydon Miller's up next. 7 runs batted in, as it's strike 1 on Miller. Miller had a great night last night, looking to build off that. A 2-run double included in that, as the count is now even at 1 on the inside ball. Geisler looking to keep his strong start going as strike 2 is fouled off down the third base line. Graydon Miller, a second-year American, and has been a consistent contributor both years he's been with the team. A stud at first base as well. Swing and a miss, though, right here. Braden Miller goes down swinging for out number 2. And Michael Geisler today has now struck out his first American, as Derek Gismondi will get the next try at Geisler right here. Spent his first year at Mount St. Mary's, now in the transfer portal, and he takes an outside ball. Gismondi recorded his first hit of the season a couple days ago. And that's another low ball to make it 2-0 to Gismondi. Gismondi, in his early days as an American, was known for his walks. And he's up 3-0 in the count. Looking to walk again here, potentially. Here's the pitch. And it is in there for a strike to make it 3-1. That one way inside, and Gismondi will walk in just 5 pitches. Americans have a runner on for the first time today in this top of the second inning after 5 consecutive outs by the pitcher Geisler to kick off the game. Derek Gismondi with his 8th walk of the season. Had a 4-walk game against the Tarp Skunks. A little bit back. And here is Carmen Panaro. Big night last night with his first hit as an American. Went for extra bases. And he takes ball 1. 974 OPS. Another Niagara University baseball player here alongside C.J. Hurley, the starting pitcher, and a handful of others. Takes it way inside. Did not hit him, but came very, very close. He's going to have to move his legs out of the way on ball 2 right there. Panaro takes the 2-0 and swings and misses for strike 1. Geisler looking for another scoreless frame here in the top of the second. 34 strikeouts last season. Already has 1 today in the count. As the pickoff attempt at first base is unsuccessful, Gismondi slides back in time. And Geisler checks on Gismondi again. Now the pitch to Panaro is in there for an inside strike to even things up at 2. 2's across the board. Same number as the number of Pioneers hits on the day. And Panaro looking for his 3rd hit in the last 2 games. Playing outfield for the 2nd consecutive day, but moving from left to right as he swings and misses. And down he goes for strike 3. Michael Geisler has struck out 2 in the inning and sends it to the bottom of the 2nd. We'll be right back.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
In honor of Father's Day at the Elmira Pioneers, we would like to thank any father in attendance at tonight's game. We hope you enjoy your day at the
Back for the bottom of the second here at Dunn Field. And fans, did you know American season tickets are just $99? Come be a part of the fun this summer at Sal Magley Stadium. Stop by the concession stands and pick up your season tickets today at any Americans home game to be a part of this historic season in Niagara Falls. Americans will be back home on Wednesday to take on the Jamestown Tarpskunks. A couple of road games in between here in Elmira, as well as at Newark on Tuesday, as it's strike one to Ty Martineau here in the second inning of Hurley's pitching. And it's an 0-2 count now. Hurley looking for another strikeout. He has already struck out one today, but Martineau staying alive here after the foul ball. It'll be the bottom three of the Americans order when they come back up, starting with Logan Stickler. Another foul ball down the third base line. And the 0-2 from Hurley is sent outside, right over that righty batter's box for ball one. Hurley will face Martineau as well as Shane Starr and Aiden Grabowski here in the bottom of the second inning. And Hurley over adjusts on the inside ball two. Hurley had an 0-2 count early here. The ground ball to Ramos, sent to first base. Graydon Miller will complete out number one as Ty Martineau goes down on the ground out. Shane Starr up next, the Franklin Pierce University product, batting .143 with a .286 OPS. Played just 8 games over at Franklin Pierce, but a great contact hitter. 5 of 13 with 5 singles and 2 RBIs there. Swing and a miss for strike one, as CJ Hurley has brought the heat here today at Dunn Field. The 0-1 will go outside to even up the count. CJ Hurley brushing off some dirt from the mound and delivering the 1-1. And that is going to be a little bit closer and finds the outside part of the zone for strike two. Here's the 1-2. That is grounded, picked up by Ramos again. And 2 consecutive groundouts to kick off this second inning. Almost reminiscent of how the Americans went down in the top of the first. And coming in from the Pios dugout is Aiden Grabowski, the second-year Pioneer. 185 with a 494 OPS back in 2024, has improved to 200 with a 561 OPS so far in 2025. First pitch from Hurley will whack him on the legs, and Grabowski will take first. First base runner on this inning for the Pioneers. Brooks Hicken up next. Didn't have that much time to warm up. That was a hit batsman on the first pitch by Hurley. Hicken batting .222 on the year, 633 OPS. Played his first 2 years at Florida State College at Jacksonville. Remains to be seen where he will head for his junior season after this, but a ground ball softly hit to Ramos, and it's the third consecutive third in this inning, 6-3 ground out to wrap things up here in the second inning. Top of the third when we're back. Americans will send Logan Stickler, Alan Ramos, and Connor Kiefer up to bat.
Now I'm kind of thirsty. Me too. could really use something.
Yeah. Oh,
Thanks, Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
Back here at Dunfield for the third inning. And this third inning here on the Americans Baseball Network is sponsored by Greater Niagara Federal Credit Union, by Geico of Buffalo, by Sammy's Pizza, and by McDonald's. At every Americans home game this season, if the Americans score 3, it's a free McCafe Frap for every single fan, and a similar promotion done down here at Dunfield with medium fries. And McDonald's coming back with the snack wrap on July 10th. I'm excited for that one. A big fan. But here in this third inning, Michael Geisler will hope to keep things scoreless as he faces the bottom of the Americans order. Logan Stickler will be up first. This is just his second game as an American. Went 1 for 5 the first time around. And got on late in the game with a double. So his first hit of the season came on extra bases. We'll see if number 2 can come right here. And that is driven into deep left center field for the base hit. And Stickler will stay at first this time around, but first hit of the day for the Americans comes off the bat of Logan Stickler. Stickler looking to prove a point here, work his way into the mix here as a regular for these Americans. And that's his second hit of the season as Alan Ramos comes up next. The Division I Wagner commit. Stickler has a big lead at first base as ball 1 goes to Ramos. Ramos batting 9th and playing short for the second consecutive night. The Americans tried him at third a couple times, but been much smoother defensively at his natural position. Stickler takes off, but it's a foul ball. He'll have to go right back. Definitely has some speed on him, so be on the lookout for some potential stolen bases from Logan Stickler as this at-bat continues. And Connor Kiefer in the on-deck circle. He collided with Carmen Panaro earlier in this game. Looked a little winded, but glad that he's all right and getting ready to bat here in the ball game against these Pioneers. With the 2-1 count on Alan Ramos, Stickler inching towards second. The pitch is sent down the first base line and bobbled by the first baseman Hicken. Ramos will be safe. It's first and second for the Americans. So the first 2 batters have gotten on here in this top of the third inning. That will be ruled a single on the very hard hit ball by Ramos. Will go down as his first hit as an American. And the second hit of the day for Niagara Falls. That knots things up in the hits column between these two teams, as Ramos and Stickler have leads at their respective bases, first and second. Connor Kiefer, the next customer. Takes strike one down the pike. Kiefer batting .286 on the year, .873 OPS. A big improvement from his Jamestown Tarpskunks numbers back in 2024. Swing and a miss to make it 0-2 on Kiefer here at Dunn Field. Stickler starting to take his lead back at second base. Ramos doing the same at first. So 2 ducks on the pond here to face. Or rather, with Connor Kiefer batting as he takes ball 1. And some movement from Grabowski, making sure Stickler stays in place. Kiefer fouls one off into the stands behind him. Down the right side. To stay alive, despite the 1-2 hole. And he will aim to dig out of right here against Michael Geisler. Runners with the lead again. Geisler checks second, then throws outside for ball 2. Here's his attention is divided between the runner Stickler and the batter Kiefer. Connor Kiefer is primarily a second baseman. He's played second multiple times for these Americans. Also has seen some time at short back at Alfred State. We'll see if he can do the same here in Niagara Falls. But an inside ball 3 to fill up the count here on Kiefer. Runners with a lead at both bases again. The pitch from Geisler as the runners go on the full count. Ground ball, it's out at third and an out at first. The double play across the diamond by the Pioneers. And the only base runner remaining is Ramos at second. Connor Kiefer grounding that to Hammer, and he guns that to first base for 2 outs after the tag at third. Grant Moore up for the second time today now. He's got a runner in scoring position, but not much wiggle room here with 2 down. And Geisler checking on Ramos now, delivering outside for ball 1. So we'll still need to have his attention divided here with a runner in scoring position for the Americans, who are looking to strike first here in this top of the third inning. Grabowski in a game of chicken with Ramos as ball 2 goes outside to Grant Moore. Moore looking for his first hit of the day to keep that hit streak going that's been active since the very beginning of the season. Moore has started every single game for these Americans. After a few games, settled into this leadoff role. And the rest has been history as he fouls one off down the third base line for strike 1. Grant Moore hails from Ohio, Mount Vernon Nazarene University, about 30 minutes from his hometown is where he attends school. Batted .304 with an .859 OPS in year 2 at MVNU. The pitch from Geisler, swing and a miss to even up the count. So it's 2s across the board. Also 2 hits for each side, and the runner on second to the magic number here in this top of the third inning. And Geisler checking back, now delivering. Moore drives that into left field. Hit streak is now at 10. Ramos coming around to score, and Moore will hold up at first base. The RBI single will put the Americans on the board first in this third inning. Grant Moore has just been a rock for this Americans team. Continuously driving in runs, continuously getting on base. That's his 8th RBI of the year. And now we'll see if he tries to steal some bases. Got steal number 12 against the Ironbacks last night. As Shane Prey bats next with 2 down and more on base. He takes off for second, but it's foul for strike 1 here. So Moore will have to head back to first base. Love to see that confidence back for Grant Moore. He got caught stealing a couple games ago. Got a little more patient with his steals, but his confidence coming right back after he took a bag against the Ironbacks last night. Actually, it took a couple, but one came on the wild pitch from the Ironbacks. Pickoff attempt at first is unsuccessful, with 1 strike on the count to Shane Prey. 0 for 1 on the day after the Americans went down 1-2-3 in the first inning. And it's strike 2 to Prey now. Michael Geisler looking to keep the score at 1-0 here. After his first earned run of the season came on that Moore RBI single. The pitch, swing and a miss for strike 3. And Moore was headed to second, but it will not matter. We will head to the bottom of the 3rd inning here on the broadcast after the break.
Ever dreamed of playing catch right here at Sal Magley Stadium? Well, join us June 22nd for a post-game catch on the field.
The Elmira Pioneers organization asks you to help keep historic Dunfield clean by picking up your trash on your way out to the ballpark and throw it to a garbage can located by each exit of the ballpark. Thank you for your help. Fans looking for
Back for the bottom of the 3rd here at Sal Magley. And fans, this season you can get the latest Americans gear, hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, baseballs, and much, much more. Stop by the merchandise stand at any home game. It's out by concessions over at Sal Magley. But today, the Americans have a Sunday afternoon game on this lovely Father's Day here at Dunfield. They lead the Pioneers 1-0. As Hurley and Past warm up to face these Pioneers. Benjamin Rohde will kick things off, followed by Dylan Fatovich and TJ Gramesti here in this bottom of the 3rd. And here he is, Ben Rohde. Usually playing in center field, but today he'll be in left. Batting 182 with a 582 OPS. And one of a few members of this team signed from the Barry University JV team, alongside a couple pitchers, Bobby Boeing and Brendan Hayes. And that is going to be in the glove of Connor Kiefer on the floating line drive for out number 1. And now it's back to the top of the order for these Pios. It's Dylan Fatovich. He's 0 for 1 on the day. He was the first strikeout victim of CJ Hurley today. And still the only strikeout victim, but takes strike 1 right there. Hurley looking for his second against a familiar foe. That is sent down the left field line, foul. And there it is. CJ Hurley has 2 strikes once again on Dylan Fatovich. Fatovich comes from Florida, and he gets whacked. Looks a little shaken up, shaking off his hand as he walks gingerly towards first base. We'll hope he's all right. Appears he got hit in the hand as TJ Gramesti will come up with the runner on now. Already has a hit on the day. Gramesti, the second straight Floridian up to the plate from Boca Raton, Florida. Another Father's Day shout out to my grandpa and uncle who live down in Boca Raton as well. But Gramesti, the FAU product, stayed close to home for college. He takes strike one on the inside corner. Gramesti went to high school at North Broward Prep. And a chopper comes back to Hurley, sent to first for out number 2. But advancing to second base, Dylan Fadovich, after he got whacked, is in scoring position for the Pioneers. John Simmons up next. In this 1-0 ball game, the Pioneers looking to tie things up, and Fadovich representing the tying run at second base. Simmons represents the go-ahead run here at home plate. First pitch from Hurley is taken inside for the ball. 1-0 count as Fadovich takes back his lead at second base. Simmons from Forest, Virginia, also stayed local for college over at Liberty. Check swing, and he went. Never mind, they'll call it a ball. They check with the infield umpire, and he says ball 2. Hurley checks the runner, then delivers, and it's now a 3-0 count to John Simmons. Simmons, one of 6 lefties in this Pioneers lineup today. An interesting choice to put all these left-handers against the sole lefty in the Americans rotation, C.J. Hurley. And it'll be working right there as it's a 4-pitch walk for John Simmons. 2 ducks on the pond as Anthony Manganiello will come up next. Came into this game batting .400. That's down slightly as he's over 1 on the day. But Manganiello looking for his first hit on this Father's Day. As both runners have big leads at their respective bases. Sent foul down the first base line. It's been advantage pitching thus far in this Americans Pioneers matchup, but Nick Past will come to meet with C.J. Hurley on the bump. Discussing the approach here against Manganiello. Manganiello, one of a few Northwood players for these Pioneers. That's a Division II school out in Illinois. He's originally from Northwood. And often DH'd for that team. That is driven into right center field rather. It'll drop for the base hit. 1 run scores. 2nd run holding up at 3rd as the Pioneers tie up this game. On their 3rd hit of the day. So they've now tied the Americans back up in both the hit and run columns. C.J. Hurley gives up the RBI single to Anthony Manganiello. And Brandon Hammer up next, a big hitter. Not someone that's ideal to see with runners on the corners. The Hammer is the 2nd straight Northwood hitter for these Pioneers, and he takes the strike on the outside corner. Appears to be a wide strike zone for the home plate umpire today. And Hurley checks first base. In safely is Manganiello. Did not have too much of a lead, so not all that much to worry about. And Hurley has got eagle eyes on him as the left-hander swing and a miss to make it 0-2. CJ Hurley has had some traffic on the base paths a couple times now, but only one run allowed throughout all that traffic. Looking to keep it that way here in this third inning. Go-ahead run for the Pioneers is now at third base. The pitch is sent up the middle. Kiefer will pick it up. Throw it to first. Out number 3. The Americans get out of this inning with just one run allowed. It's a tie ball game as we head to the fourth inning after the break.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Back for the top of the fourth inning, and this fourth inning here on the Americans Baseball Network is sponsored by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 237, by Johnny Ryan, and by Coca-Cola. Get all your favorite Coke beverages at every home game. Just stop by concessions. There's dizzy bat taking place on the field as the Americans are all knotted up here at Dunn Field with the back-to-back West Division champion Elmira Pioneers. Pio's off to a 3-4 start to the season. It's one of their toughest tests yet. They're currently 6th in the West Division standings, looking to climb back up into that playoff picture. And a win against the Americans would be a huge factor in those standings. The Americans currently hold on to second place, right behind the Newark Pilots, and those two teams will actually face off on Tuesday in the Americans' next game. First pitch for that one will be at 6:30 from Colburn Park. We'll have all the coverage right here on the Americans Baseball Network, but for now, it's Americans and Pios in this tie ball game, and Nick Past will kick off the inning for the Americans. As Michael Geisler warms up for his fourth inning of work. Delanto and Graydon Miller will be due up after Past. Past is 0 for 1 on the day, as are Delanto and Miller. Pioneers kicked off this game, retiring 5 consecutive batters. First base runner came on a Derek Jesmondi walk, and then the first hit was given up in the third inning to Logan Stickler. But now things are all evened up here at Dunn Field. 1-1 ball game, 3 hits apiece for these teams. And the first pitch from Geisler in this fourth inning finds the inside corner for strike 1. Nick Past, a multi-hit game last night against the Ironbacks, now even in the count at 1. Past in the first game of the season had a 2-run triple, but his hits last night were both singles. As there's a brief meeting on the mound between Manganiello and Geisler before the 1-2 pitch to Nick Past. Anthony Manganiello doing the catching today. TJ Gramesti can also catch, but he's out in right field today. The pitch by Geisler is outside, makes it 2-2. Past another Florida native. There's a lot of those in this game. Goes to Eastern Florida State University. A 220 hitter over there, but a swing and miss for strike 3 right here. Out number 1 comes on the strikeout from Geisler. His 3rd strikeout of the day. Also the 2nd consecutive, as he wrapped up the 3rd inning by striking out Shane Prey. Paul Delanto, the next customer. 0 for 1, not a strikeout victim just yet. And he gets hit and will take first base. A lot of hit batsmen on both sides of the ball here today. Delanto. Is the first base runner here in this 4th inning. And Graydon Miller will get the chance to advance him. Struck out his first time up today, but 2 for 3 with a 2-run double and 3 total RBIs last night. Miller, in his 2nd season here with the Americans, a rising senior at Drury University. Pitch from Geisler, swung and missed on for strike 1. Geisler's brought the heat, and Miller has been biting all day long here at Dunfield. Very different playing surface than Sal Magley Stadium. And that is driven into left field for a base hit. Miller's 3rd hit in just 2 games makes it 1st and 2nd for the Americans. Delanto now on 2nd base after he got hit to take first. And Gismondi will have 2 runners on, and Delanto in scoring position. Hopes to knock him in with 1 down here in this 4th inning. Give the Americans back the lead after they struck first an inning ago. 1 run apiece in that 3rd inning. The first runs in this game. The pitch from Geisler goes outside for ball 1. Delanto looks behind him, then takes the lead at 2nd. Miller has the same at first base. Geisler checking Delanto a few times and now delivers, swing and a miss. It's 1-1. Here to the batter, Gismondi. Next one grounded to the 2nd baseman, Martineau, and the tag on Miller for out number 1. And the throw is bobbled by Brooks Hickens. So now runners on the corners on the fielder's choice. An easy out at 2nd for Martineau, makes the tag to the advancing Graydon Miller. And now Gismondi will reach first on a fielder's choice. Delanto on the opposite corner at 3rd, as there's a meeting on the mound between Geisler, Grabowski, and the catcher, Manganiello. Here's Carmen Pinaro now. 286 hitter coming into this game, 974 OPS. 0 for 1 on the day. He was retired to end the 2nd inning after Gismondi got on last time, and it's once again 2 down with Pinaro up. But this time also the runner on 3rd in Delanto, as it's a big cut and miss for strike 1 here on Carmen Pinaro. Playing in his 3rd straight game for these Americans, pinch hit for Jack Satinoff on Friday, then started last night, as it's a close call on the pickoff attempt at first, but Gismondi will get back in safely just in time with the 0-1 count. Takes his lead back. Delanto has a slight lead at third, but playing it a little safer than Gismondi. And the pitch finds the low edge of the strike zone on the outside corner to make it 0-2. Michael Geisler, one strike away from getting out of this inning unscathed and keeping the score tied at 1. Geisler delivers inside to make it 1-2. One and two count as Panaro tries to recover here. It's a low ball 2. Count is now even, 2s across the board, and 2 runners on for these Americans as they look for run number 2. The magic number once again here. Here's the pitch. Another one outside to fill up the count on Panaro. Panaro has taken 2 consecutive balls here. Bat over his shoulder as he gets ready for the payoff pitch from Geisler. Here it is. Runners advance as the walk will send Panaro to first base. Bases are juiced with 2 down. Logan Stickler, already 1 for 1 on the day, will bat next. So it's Delanto still on third. Gismondi now at second. And Panaro at first. Braden Miller was tagged out on the run to second base. The fielder's choice. That got Gismondi to first base to begin with. And the umpires meeting as the pitcher and catcher, Manganiello and Geisler, meet on the mound.
I don't think he's in the lineup. One of them, I think, is not in the lineup. I think that's for showing the lineup card. Or they batted out of order. What's up? Oh, that's gonna end the inning. That's great. What they do.
And some confusion here as the umpires still discussing before Logan Stickler set to bat.
He's supposed to bat next. He was supposed to bat where this guy bat. Well, it's not
We'll have to see what happens right here. And the umpires will call out number 3 here. Not exactly sure what happened, but we'll send it to the bottom of the 4th. And Panaro is still discussing with the umpire, but looks like this inning's going to end. And the Americans still tied with the Pioneers at 1. Now Delanto is confused. He's starting a conversation here at third base. As all 3 base runners come in to meet with the umpire as well as manager Will Cordero. Clubhouse manager Riley Drew Cross coming out to the field. And we'll see what happens here with the Americans still on the field. We'll keep it here just to get some clarification.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Batting out of order. Place batter number 3 at plate. Batting out of order. So it's just B and then Cole, P, B, then Cole, and then batter. And got it. Out of order. All right, thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Americans coming back out to the field now as the conversation between Will Cordero and the umpires continues. To see if there's any change to the call about number 3. Some confusing outs yesterday as well on a fielder's choice that was dropped by left fielder Grayson Briggs, but 2 outs were called. And it appears that the umps may have just tossed Cordero, but we'll get word on what officially happened in just a moment. Bottom of the 4th inning here at Dunn Field. And it's still tied at 1, but we want to remind fans to follow us on all social media platforms. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. You can connect with the Americans like never before this season. Shout out to our social media managers, Leah Fraun and Frankie Morris. So the ruling is that the Americans were batting out of order, which did not seem to happen out on the field, but that was the ruling by the umpires. And Ty Martineau will kick things off to start this inning for the Pioneers. He takes ball 1. So the out officially called against Logan Stickler after a walk. So Alan Ramos will be the batter to start off the 5th inning as it's 1-1. And the ground ball sent from Kiefer to Miller for out number 1. And Shane Starr will be the next customer to face CJ Hurley. Starr batting 143 with a 286 OPS. Headed into this game, but today is 0 for 1 as he takes the ball. Now a swing and miss makes it 1-1. So the Americans very confused by that call to end the 4th inning, or at least the top of the 4th. Ruled batting out of order, but as far as we saw up here, that was indeed the starting lineup in its correct order. A 1-2 pitch, fouled off, tipped behind the plate. And that is sent right back to CJ Hurley. And he'll get the out on the toss to Graydon Miller at first base. It's 2 down on these Pioneers in the bottom of the 4th. Aiden Grabowski up next. Grabowski, the final hitter that was due up in this inning, was hit his first time around in this Pioneers order. Pitch from Hurley goes a little bit outside for ball one. And another one a little further outside to make it 2-0 on Grabowski. Product of Tiffin University and the second-year Pioneer will take his third consecutive ball. It's been on the same part of the plate, right over that lefty batter's box. Not too far from the strike zone, but Hurley's got to find it here. And he does. That's right over the plate for strike one. But Grabowski still the hitter's count here with 2 down and nobody on. Swing and a miss. Makes it 3-2. The big cut by Grabowski. And payoff pitch on the way from C.J. Hurley. Driven into left field, and Gismondi's backing up. He will make the catch for out number 3. We'll send it to the top of the 5th inning. Americans will look for revenge after that call to end the 4th. Ruled a batting out of order. And report from the dugout says that the call was genuinely gotten wrong, but we'll head back for the 4th inning as Will Cordero will, or 5th inning rather, as Will Cordero will head back out to the field. We'll be right back.
You know, I'm kind of thirsty. Me too. I could really use something. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
Back for the 5th inning as Will Cordero continues his conversation with the umpires. He will remain in the game. Was not indeed tossed. But the Americans will bring up Alan Ramos as well as Connor Kiefer and Grant Moore in this 5th inning. As the Americans confirming their batting order with the umpires. Michael Geisler will keep pitching. My apologies. They will say that Logan Stickler is going to bat again. That walk will not count. So it'll be Stickler, Ramos, and Kiefer. As Michael Geisler keeps pitching. It appears the Americans, according to the umpires, may have skipped over Derek Gismondi in their order and had Panaro in there instead. But that whole inning pretty much voided as Logan Stickler comes up to start the top of the 5th. Singled in the 3rd inning, and now tips that foul behind him for strike 1. Stickler just his 2nd start as an American, both coming as the extra hitter. Played some infield in high school, but hasn't mixed in there just yet as he grounds it to Grabowski at short. And out number 1 at first base. Stickler goes down on the 6-3 ground out. And Alan Ramos will bat next. Ramos had his first hit as an American in the 3rd inning. A hit that advanced Logan Stickler. They were back-to-back. But this time, the base is empty with Ramos up as Stickler grounded out. Ramos shows bunt. But that is outside for the ball. Not in hittable territory for the American shortstop. Ramos headed into his freshman year at Wagner in the fall. Will send it on a ground ball to the second baseman, and the error made by Ty Martineau. Ramos will reach base for the second time today. 1 on for the Americans with 1 out in this top of the 5th inning. Connor Kiefer will bat next. Connor Kiefer grounded into the double play his first time up. But certainly a capable hitter. Came into the game with an 873 OPS, 286 batting average. Was an absolute standout at Alfred State. Where he batted .325 with an OPS of 1014. And Kiefer getting ready to step in after some brief stoppage in the field for the Pioneers. Connor Kiefer, after the error by Elmira. And now a pickoff attempt at first base. No success there. The Pioneers commit their first error of the game. First error of the game altogether, actually. Another pickoff attempt at first. Ramos sliding in safely. And Kiefer's been waiting patiently as 2 throws to first and none to him in this at bat. Ramos has a lead again, but Geisler will pitch to Kiefer as Ramos takes off for second, but the foul ball will force him right back. Ramos has been very eager to steal, and Geisler has had other plans thus far in this at bat. See if Ramos tries again here on the 0-1 pitch. Might be too predictable at this rate if he tries for second here. But another pickoff attempt, and Ramos continues to win this game of chicken. He slides into first safely. He's been on both ends of this, messing around with runners on second as the American shortstop plenty of times. And one's across the board now as Connor Kiefer gets ready for the pitch from Geisler. He delivers, and Ramos takes off again, but it's another foul ball. I mean, Ramos has got to be tiring himself out at this point. Running full speed ahead on 2 balls that end up foul. And still at first base, as he's had to go back both times. Connor Kiefer brushing the plate with his bat. Down in the count 1-2, trying to climb out of this. It's been 2 foul balls, as this time on the pickoff attempt, Geisler drops the ball. They will allow Ramos to take second on the mistake by the pitcher. So Ramos takes second base. He reached on an error. And now another free bag as he heads to second. Kiefer now with the runner in scoring position in the form of Alan Ramos. Geisler's attention is divided as Kiefer sends it to Grabowski at short. A great throw in time for out number 2. Ramos will hold up at second base, and Connor Kiefer goes down for the second time today. Aiden Grabowski with a cannon for an arm at shortstop. Grabowski, never been known for his bat, but he has shown his value 2 years in a row as a great defender for these Pioneers. Grant Moore batting next as it's back to the top of the order here. Already has 1 hit on the day, drove in a run. Can he drive in Alan Ramos at second? That's the question that needs to be answered right here as he takes strike 1 down the pike on the low edge. It will be ruled a balk that Ramos will reach second base on. So he takes first on the error, he takes second on the balk, and just like that, he's in scoring position as he starts heading towards third, but Moore will swing and miss to make it 0-2. Grant Moore started this game off with a ground out, then singled.
How are you gonna have 2 spelling errors and 2 graphics?
Are you serious?
Michael Geisler checking on Ramos at second. Bigger and bigger lead. He's sort of rocking back and forth. He starts to take off. We'll say no pitch right there. It'll be a meeting on the mound between Geisler and Manganiello. Trying to figure out how to maneuver this situation with Ramos on second and Moore up to bat. 2 down, Geisler. Gotta focus in on getting this final out. Does check back on Ramos. Grabowski has him covered. The pitch inside for the ball. Grant Moore looking to climb out of what was once an 0-2 hole.
I don't care if I gotta give the fucking $20. I did not know where that was going. I'm pretty sure that was
The leadoff hitter for these Americans ever since the 3rd game of the year as he sends it into left field. And that is going to drop in front of Rhodey for the base hit and Moore. Ramos scores, Moore on second. And the Americans will now lead 2-1 on the hit by Moore. It's his second of the day. That will be ruled either a double or a single in advance on the throw. We'll get clarification on the call in just a moment, but for now, Shane Prey is up to bat. With Grant Moore in scoring position, an even faster runner than Ramos. Should be eager to steal third as that one gets away from the catcher Manganiello on strike 1. Moore will hold up at second. Manganiello got back to it pretty quickly. Would have been able to gun Moore out most likely. But he has a big lead at second base. Geisler checks on him, now delivers. Outside to make it 1-1 to Prey. Shane Prey 0 for 2 today. Had multiple hits last night, looking to get his first of the game here with the runner on second and 2 down. Geisler looking back and forth, now delivers, check swing. They'll say he went. Strike 2. As the home plate umpire checks with his infield crewmate. And it's 1-2 to Prey. Moore takes back his lead at second base, looking for steal number 13. Geisler checks on him. Now delivers. And that is in there for strike 3 on the high part of the zone. Grant Moore stranded on second, but the Americans now up 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the inning.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Back for the bottom of the 5th inning here at Dunfield. The Americans now with the 2-1 lead over the Pioneers. And do you or someone you know have a birthday coming up, fans? Why not spend it with the Americans? Packages include 10 tickets, 2 large Sammy's pizzas, 10 drinks, customized Wegmans cake, autographed Americans baseballs, and special recognition at the game starting at just $175. Sign up online at NiagaraFallsAmericans.com. And it is 0-2 to Brooks Hicken in this bottom of the 5th. Fouled off. Hicken will stay alive here on a rocket towards the stands. Americans inning ending with Shane Prey striking out for the 2nd time. That's a fly ball into shallow center. And 3 guys there. It'll drop though. And unfortunately none of Jesmondi, Moore, or Ramos able to get to it, as Brooks Hicken will get to first base. Ben Rohde up next for the Pioneers. With C.J. Hurley still on the bump for his 5th inning of work. Hit number 4 for Elmira. And that is ball 1 to Rohde. Ben Rohde on the day is 0 for 1. This will wrap up the 2nd time through the order for the Pioneers with Hicken on first. And the bunt by Rohde. Hurley coming for it. And Rohde is safe at first base as Hurley seems to trip over himself trying to field that bunt. Runners on first and second. As Benjamin Rohde beats that out big time. He has got some serious wheels on him. There's a reason he's finishing off this lineup. There will be a meeting on the mound after C.J. Hurley let 2 consecutive base runners on here. Both of them coming on hits. The bunt single after the single that dropped between Ramos, Jesmondi, and Moore in the outfield. Everybody heading back into position as CJ Hurley will stick this out. Those were just kind of unfortunate situations for him. Not all that much to do with his pitching. He's looked rock solid here. Just 1 run allowed through 4 innings plus as he continues pitching in this bottom of the 5th. And will face the lefty Dylan Fadovich. The Pioneers around for their 3rd time through the order. And Hurley will be here to see them for their 3rd times up. He'll meet briefly with Nick Pass to discuss the strategy here against Fadovich. Fadovich 0 for 1. Also got hit. CJ Hurley has hit 2 and walked 1 in this game, in addition to giving up 5 hits. Here's the pitch. That gets in there on the outside edge of the zone to make it 1-1. And both runners have a lead here, Hicken and Rohde. Hicken now at second base. He led off the inning with his single. Ground ball right to Graydon Miller at first. Out at second, Ramos will cover, but safe at first. With some serious speed is Dylan Fadovich. So the number 10 hitter and number 1 hitter in the order doing their job with some big time speed for these Pioneers, and it's runners on the corners with 1 down to bring up TJ Gramesti, arguably the biggest hitter in this Pioneers lineup. 1 for 2 today, came into this game batting .563 with a 1521 OPS. Here's the pitch as the runners go. It's a single into left field on the ground ball. Gramesti heads to first base, and safe at third is Dylan Fadovich. Rohde will score. Excuse me, Hicken, the one to score, but it is a tie ball game at 2. It's been back and forth between the Pios and the Americans as Gramesti records the 6th hit of the day for the Pioneers, his 2nd personally, both of them singles. He does certainly have some power, but showing his ability to make contact here in this game as it's strike 1 to John Simmons, the extra hitter. Gramesti now on first base, Fadovich on third. And the 0-1 is popped up in foul territory. Pass chasing after it, as well as Shane Prey. It'll drop in the stands, out of play. It's 0-2. Hurley allows his 2nd run of the game here in this 5th inning. And the ball game is tied at 2. Pioneers out hitting the Americans now 6-5. With 3 hits in this inning alone. Hurley will check on first base. The pickoff attempt unsuccessful as Gramesti scurrying back. John Simmons, 1 for 1 with a walk today. He's reached every single time he's come up, and that will be called a strike. Down goes John Simmons on 3 consecutive strikes. CJ Hurley has 2 outs now with runners on the corners. Anthony Manganiello will bat next for the Pioneers. Looking to drive in the go-ahead run in the form of Dylan Fadovich at third base. Hurley delivers. And Gramesti taking off for second. He'll be caught in a rundown, and coming home to score is Fadovich. Oh! The throw is botched. It looks like it's going to be interference, but no, they're going to call TJ Gramesti out. That'll wrap up the inning. And on a Close call right there. Gramesti will be out number 3, but a brief meeting between the umps to confirm here. Would be the top of the 6th if this call stands. And they will reverse the call. Gramesti taking second. The Pioneers putting up another run. As Manganiello will get to keep batting. In the bottom of the 5th with 2 down. Pioneers now lead 3-2 after the umpires rule interference. It's something the Americans will have to be careful of moving forward. They know now, after the mistake in the rundown with TJ Gramesti. Manganiello still with nothing on the count as Will Cordero conferencing with the umps once again. Been frustrated with a couple of calls here today. So that is the reason for the stoppage in the game right now. Cordero frustrated and heading back to the dugout as the Pioneers will stay alive here with 2 down. That will go in as another earned run for CJ Hurley. He's had 3 in 4 2/3. Oh and 1. And now 0-2 to Manganiello. As that one goes over the outside part of the plate for the second strike. Gramesti on second base. As it's an outside ball to make it 1-2. This was an 0-2 hole to start off for Manganiello. He'll look to climb out of it with the runner in scoring position. Swing and a miss. And CJ Hurley gets another strikeout. It's strikeout number 6 on the day. Or excuse me, strikeout number 4, but nonetheless, the Americans will head to the top of the 6th inning after this break. Ever dreamed of playing catch right here at Sal Maglie Stadium? Well, join us June 22nd for a post-game catch on the field. Back for the 6th inning here at Dunfield. And this 6th inning here on the Americans Baseball Network is sponsored by Niagara County Legislator Chris Robbins, Laborers Local 91, and Wegmans. Wegmans and Sammy's Pizza also proud sponsors of the Americans birthday package, which I mentioned just a half inning ago. $175 to get 10 fans to the park for a birthday. And it'll be a new pitcher here for the Pioneers in this 6th inning. That pitcher is Bryce Mashanik. Mashanik on the year is 1-0, has not given up an earned run, and has struck out 5. Comes from SUNY Niagara. And many of his teammates on the Americans, they are not playing today, working an event over at the university. As Nick Pass comes up to bat. Swing and a miss to make it 0-1. Nick Pass, 0 for 2 today, has already struck out once. Michael Geisler finishes his day with 5 strikeouts, but that's fouled off to make it 0-2. Pass looking to climb out of the hole here after 2 consecutive strikes. Takes one upstairs to stay alive. Pioneers now outscoring and out-hitting the Americans. They lead 3-2. Way inside to even up the count. Nick Past has been one of the most frequent flyers behind the plate for the Americans, alongside the SUNY Niagara product Dalton Harper. But the count is now full on the outside ball 3. Mashanik over adjusting after that inside pitch for the second ball here. Payoff pitch is in the dirt. Past will take first base for the first time today with the walk. And following him up will be Paul Delanto. The DH came into this game batting .364, is 0 for 1 on the day. Also got hit. Takes ball 1 outside. We'll see how Mashanik adjusts here. Swing and a miss for strike 1 on the fastball. Michael Geisler finishes his day as the starter with 2 runs, just 1 earned, 2 walks, 5 hits, and 5 innings pitched. Struck out 5. A lot of 5s on his stat line as ball 2 goes outside. The Americans' dugout is noisy here, backing their DH Delanto, one of the biggest bats on the team. Had a grand slam against the Red Wings the other night, and that'll be popped up. Hicken heading over for it and makes the catch, headed into the dugout. Brooks Hicken with some range for out number 1. My goodness, Hicken had a couple of defensive mistakes earlier in this game, made the error, but redeems himself on that. And now, with 1 down and 1 on, it'll be Graydon Miller. Rather, that error was on the second baseman, Martineau. Was a throwing error. But nonetheless, Brooks Hicken recovering on defense here with the pop-up caught in foul territory. Graydon Miller 0 for 2 today. Or 1 for 2, rather. pickoff attempt at first was unsuccessful on Nick Past. That is sent down the third base line into left field. It's headed towards the bullpen. It'll be caught for out number 2. And these Pioneers have been ranging all over the field to make these catches. That time, it's the third baseman, Brendan Hammer, to catch the foul out. So it's 2 down. As Carmen Panaro will now bat. And takes the ball outside. Here's that Panaro and Gismondi were meant to be switched in this order, and now that switch made. As it's ball 2. Two down, and Nick Past still on first. There's a strike. 2-1. Panaro now 6th in this order. The 2-1 count. And he has 3 balls. On deck for the Americans is Derek Gismondi. So 6 and 7 hitters swapped as Panaro flies that into shallow center. And making the catch for out number 3 is Dylan Fadovich. We will head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Americans trail the Pioneers 3-2. We'll be right back.
You know, I'm kind of thirsty. Me too. We could really use something. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Yankee Doodle Dad.
That's better.
Back for the bottom of the 6th here at Dunn Field. Americans trail the Pioneers 3-2. And remember, fans, an Americans game is a great way to entertain a group for the evening, and we are able to offer fundraisers tailored to your group needs, nonprofits, churches, youth sports, and more. For all group information, please visit the Americans website, NiagaraFallsAmericans.com. And it's a new pitcher in for the Americans. Hudson Boring will take things over for C.J. Hurley, the righty coming in for the southpaw starter. As the home plate umpire is cleaning off the dish here. Now it's Brendan Hammer to kick things off for Elmira in this bottom of the 6th inning as Hudson Boring comes out of the bullpen. Boring the pitch. Finds the inside part of the zone for strike one. Brendan Hammer 0 for 2 today. And that is going to be driven into the infield and goes over the head of a couple of fielders, but reaching for the single is Brendan Hammer, his first hit of the day, and number 7 for the Pioneers. And here's Ty Martineau to follow him up. Martineau also 0 for 2 today. Product of Flagler, recently moved down to Division II. First pitch from Boring to him is a bunt, goes foul, and Hammer had taken off for a second. He's going to have to go right back. Brendan Hammer hammering the line drive softly into no man's land for the single. Martineau takes one outside to even up the count. Boring. Gets set for the 1-1. Product of Panola. Throws one outside for ball 2. And this is rare for the Americans that they do not have a Panola College player in their lineup today. So Boring, currently the only Panola player on the field, despite 5 on the roster. That'll be strike 2 again on the outside part of the zone. As Martineau looks to stay alive here with the even count. Boring will not check on first. Hammer has a lead there, and that is going to drop foul on a softly hit ball. So Martineau still alive in the at-bat. Looking to expand on the 1-run lead for the Pioneers. Boring the pitch. Chopper heads to Miller, and it is thrown over the head of Alan Ramos. Braden Miller makes the throwing error. It's runners on first and second. The Americans, their first error of the day, comes on the attempted double play. No outs recorded, and Shane Starr is up next. He's 0 for 2, the DH for the Pios today. Shows bunt that heads right to third baseman Shane Prey. That'll rule it foul. He was slowly shifting towards third. Runners on are Hammer at second and Martineau at first. Martineau reaching on the error after the Hammer single. 2-1 now. Starr finds himself ahead in the count after an early strike 1. As a runner in scoring position, he'll hope to drive in here as that finds the bottom edge of the zone to even things back up at 2 in this back and forth battle between Hudson Boring and Shane Starr. It's gone strike, ball, ball, strike. After the first error of the day committed by the Americans, got Martineau to first base. Here's the pitch. That gets in there for strike 3. And down goes Shane Starr for out number 1. Still 2 on. as Aiden Grabowski steps in. The shortstop came into this game batting .200. He's 0 for 1 on the day. Grabowski has 2 runners on. All force plays available here for the Americans at first and second. Strike 1 on the foul ball down the first base line. Boring. Looking for his second consecutive out after letting 2 runners on to start the inning. He has 2 saves on the season for the Americans. But coming in a little earlier here, and it's fouled off by Grabowski. Boring's ERA on the year is at 2.25. That was strikeout number 5 on the year for him. Last appeared in relief of Keegan Bazinet at Auburn on Friday. It's now 2 strikes on the batter, Grabowski. Hudson Boring. Looking to end this at bat right here. But it's a grounder. Picked up by Ramos. No, it's between the legs of Alan Ramos. Run coming around to score. It's 4-2 Pioneers. Aiden Grabowski into first. And the Pioneers take a 4-2 lead over Niagara Falls. Next up will be Brooks Hicken with 2 runners on and still 1 down. As that went right between the legs of Alan Ramos, ruled an error by him. It's the second error of the day for the Americans. So that run for Hudson Boring will go down as unearned with 1 strike now on the batter, Brooks Hicken. Hicken takes the ball low. 1's across the board with 2 runners on. Americans some struggles on defense over the last inning or so. Boring. The 1-1 is fouled off by Hicken. Here at Dunfield on Father's Day, the Pioneers lead the Americans 4-2. But Hudson Boring with the advantage in the count here. Hicken will stay alive with the foul tip. Boring has made 3 appearances prior to this game. This is his 4th appearance in relief for the Americans. In 2 of them, recorded a save, and another came right in for Keegan Bazinet. That was a struggle against the Double Days. And it's a ground ball. Picked up by Kiefer at second. The throw to Hudson Boring, who covers first base for out number 2, but the runners will advance. So it's second and third. And Ben Rohde up next. It's Grabowski on second, who reached on the error. And Ty Martineau now at third. As Rohde comes up, looking for his second hit of the day. He's 1 for 2. Pitch from Boring. will go outside for the ball. Fairly close. But right over that lefty batter's box. Pioneers fans getting rowdy with 2 runners in scoring position, looking to break this game open. And that is strike 1 on the low edge of the zone, right down the pike.
You know he was fired up about today. You know he listened to that shit on his way to the dunk, bro.
Boring.
He was hyped, dude. He was like,
Checks briefly on Grabowski. And now sends one high. Ball 2. Boring checks on the count. Now sets for the 2-1. Have to see how he can recover in this count. Sends one right down the middle, and it's fouled off to even up the count. Hudson Boring, 1 strike away from calling this an inning with just 1 run allowed. Here's the 2-2 outside to fill up the count. Drops in the dirt. It's on that low outside corner. Full count, 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position. Big moment for Hudson Boring, one of the highest stakes he's seen the entire season. And that is a line drive into the outfield, but Connor Kiefer backing up for out number 3. Americans trail by 2. We'll head to the 7th inning after the break.
Ever dreamed of playing catch right here at Sal Magley Stadium? Well, join us June 22nd for a post-game catch on the field.
Back for the 7th inning here at Dunfield. Pioneers now lead the Americans 4-2. This 7th inning is sponsored by Elks Lodge of Niagara Falls, Bikers Against Child Abuse, the Stalka Agency, and Red Robin Gourmet Burgers and Brews. And it'll be Mashanik continuing to pitch here in this 7th inning. Bryce Mashanik came in for Geisler after 5 innings. And will now face Derek Jesmondi. Jesmondi 0 for 1 with a walk. Takes an inside ball to make it 1-0. And that is sent down the first base line. It'll drop foul to even up the count. That could have been an extra base hit had it dropped fair, just a little early on it. Very hard hit ball. Mashanik delivers on the 1-1. That will find the outside part of the strike zone to put the count in the favor of Mashanik. No doubt about that one. It's an outside ball, too. And it's Nolan up in the pen for the Pioneers as the count fills up on Gismondi, looking for his second walk of the day, his 9th of the season. Here's the payoff pitch. Outside for ball 4. Gismondi, the first base runner here in this 7th inning for the Americans. And next up is Logan Stickler. 1 for 2 with a single in the 3rd inning. That was the first hit of the Americans' day. They've had 4 since. Looking to climb out of this 2-run deficit. Stickler now represents the tying run. Mashanik delivers. And it's outside for the ball to start off this at-bat. Stickler committed to York College of Pennsylvania for the fall. Went to high school up in Pennsylvania as the foul ball pops up all the way to the press box. Went right past me, above my head right here. Close call right there on the pop-up. Stickler. It's the foul pop-up. And then the swing and miss as the pickoff attempt at first is unsuccessful on Gismondi. Logan Stickler looking to avoid striking out for the first time today. He'd be the 6th American to do so. Stickler takes off for second, and he is safe. But it's strike 3 on Logan Stickler. Gismondi, rather, takes second base, and Alan Ramos is up next. Alan Ramos 1 for 2 at his first hit of the season. He's been driven in twice. He also reached on an error. So he's been on 2 times today. And that is a low ball 1. Gets away from Manganiello briefly. And now on second base, Derek Gismondi looking to come home and cut this lead to 1 for the Pioneers. Ramos now representing the tying run. Would be run number 4, and he's wearing number 4, ironically. The pitch will be high, but catch the strike zone to make it 1-1. Ones across the board. Gismondi with a lead from second base. Mashanik will check back a couple of times as Gismondi taunts him, now delivers, and he seemed distracted there as he throws the outside ball too. Gismondi doing his job, getting in Mashanik's head here with the 2-1 count. Gismondi taunting again as Ramos fouls it off to the right side. Two and two, 1 down, and Gismondi on second. Americans looking to get back in this ball game after 3 unanswered runs by the Pioneers. And a brief timeout here with the even count on Alan Ramos. Umpire counting him down, and now the pitch is soft contact made on what looks to be an accidental bunt of sorts. And it's out number 2, but Gismondi heads to third base. So appear to be some form of swinging bunt by Alan Ramos. It's out number 2 on the Americans with Gismondi now on third base. Connor Kiefer comes up to the plate. Looks to get on and knock in Gismondi to cut this lead to 1. He's 0 for 2 today. And takes ball 1 outside. Kiefer started off his season 2 of 7, a hit in each of the 2 games he's played before this one. So now 2 of 9 as he takes another ball up high. Gismondi eager to get home. And he is inching towards home plate as Kiefer sends it into the gap for the base hit. Kiefer now has a 3-game hit streak, and the Americans cash in and cut the lead to 1. Connor Kiefer with a rocketing line drive to drive in the 3rd run of the day. It's Kiefer's 2nd RBI this year. And that brings up the leadoff man, Grant Moore. 2 for 3 today, 2 RBIs. Looking for his 3rd hit. This is his 2nd consecutive multi-hit game as Kiefer takes off for second base on the ball 1, and he will be safe there at second. Connor Kiefer with the stolen base. On ball 1. Kiefer, a big lead from 2nd to 3rd now. He's got some wheels himself. Graham Moore, known as the speedster on this team, but don't discount Connor Kiefer on the base paths. As Moore takes a strike. Connor Kiefer already has been used as a pinch runner once this year, but has seen plenty of time at second base as well. This is his 3rd start at the position. Takes ball 2 on the outside. Grant Moore. That is a close shave, but finds the strike zone to make it a full count. Grant Moore coming off a PGCBL Player of the Week award, looking to keep up the big numbers. He fouls it off. On the season, has recorded multiple hits in 7 of his 10 games, and at least 1 in every single game. Kiefer with a big lead, and ball 3 goes in the dirt to make it a full count with 2 down on Grant Moore. Kiefer represents the tying run and is in scoring position after the steal. Grant Moore would be the go-ahead score. Mashanik checks on Kiefer, now delivers, and it is low in the dirt to walk Grant Moore. Moore is on base for the 3rd time today. Fans are rowdy here at Dunfield as it's runners on 1st and 2nd for the Americans to bring up Shane Prey. Prey looking for his 1st hit in this one. Had multiple hits last night, but 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, 1 swinging and 1 looking in this game. He's gotten a lot of time at 3rd base for these Americans, and he has been excellent there. Takes strike 1 down the pike, though. One of the biggest stadiums in the PGCBL, and the crowd is loud as Prey fouls it off to make it 0-2. Moore and Kiefer have a lead at their respective bases. Possible we see a double steal, but instead, Prey will ground it to 3rd. And it's the out at 1st, hammer to Hicken to wrap up this inning. Americans put 1 more on the board, but the Pioneers still lead this 4-3. We'll be right back with the bottom of the 7th.
You know, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks,
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
We come back for the bottom of the 7th inning. There's been some shifting around the infield for Elmira that I've been made aware of here. Brendan Hammer shifted over to second. John Simmons at third now, and Ty Martineau now the extra hitter. Apologies for the confusion there. But in this bottom of the 7th inning for the Pioneers, they will be facing Austin Barton, the new pitcher for the Americans. Last appeared over a week ago when he had the start against the Ironbacks in Canada. 8.10 ERA on the year, 3 strikeouts. Went just 3 1/3 in his start, but should be very effective out of the bullpen as he was back at SUNY Niagara. One of just a few SUNY Niagara guys able to make it here today for the Americans. And Nick Past will meet with him as he enters the game, and Dylan Fadovich will be his first customer. Fadovich 0 for 2 on the day. Up for the 4th time as he also got hit. Barton delivers, and it's right back to him on the ground ball for out number 1. Barton to Miller, and the Americans send one down on just 1 pitch. And TJ Gramesti coming up next. He's 2 for 3, 2 singles, one of them knocked in a run. Gramesti, product of D1 FAU, has been the biggest bat in this Pioneers lineup. And takes strike 1 down the pike from Barton. That is a very fast pitch, but outside for the ball. Barton has some very good swing and miss stuff here, and has Gramesti down 1-2 in the count, but both of them looking so thus far. Ball 2 gets away from pass, but base is empty, so no further damage here on that one in the dirt. Barton delivers, and it's high to fill up the count. A lot of fastballs from Barton here with 1 down in this 7th inning. And that'll be in there for strike 3. Austin Barton, his first strikeout of the day. On the season, that's his 4th. Had 3 strikeouts in 3 1/3 against the Ironbacks when he started the game. John Simmons now at third base and remains in the lineup here for the Pioneers. 1 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout. Takes the ball. Simmons, 1 RBI on the season. Did not come today. And the throw from Barton is way inside to make it 2-0. Barton is throwing flames out here, but it's had mixed results. 1 on, 1 out. As Gramesti thought about second, but hurries back. As passed, holds on to ball 3 from Barton. John Simmons, product of Liberty University, came into this game batting .375, and he takes ball 4. It's a 4-pitch walk to make it runners on first and second. And here comes Manganiello. Barton, first pitch. He's outside for a ball. 2 on, 1 down here. Pitch from Barton. Goes inside for 2-0. Here comes another one, and it's lined down the first base line. Goes foul. Anthony Manganiello with Simmons on first and Gramesti on second. They take off, and the throw to second base is in time. So the steal by Gramesti, but John Simmons caught at second. And that'll be out number 2. With a 3-1 count. Nick Pass gunning out John Simmons. That's inside, and another runner on base to make it runners on the corners. Austin Barton has walked 3 batters in this inning, the last 3 consecutively. Brendan Hammer now at second base will bat next. 1 for 3 on the day. It's averaged right around 500 on the season. Swing and a miss as Hammer takes strike 1. Hammer took over at second base for Ty Martineau, shifted over from third. And it's now 2 strikes. Austin Barton refinding his command of the zone and trying to end this inning right here before any further damage is done. Pioneers already have a 1-run lead. And that goes low and away to keep this at bat going. Hammer came around to score after his single earlier today and fouls one off. Working this count. Started out in an 0-2 hole, took a ball, and then fouled one off. Product of Northwood alongside Manganiello, who's now on first base after the walk. Gramesti on third, and that is driven into left field for the base hit. And Gramesti will easily score. The Pioneers make it 5-3, and they once again lead by 2. The 8th hit of the day by Elmira comes off the bat of Brendan Hammer, his second of the day. Here's Ty Martineau, now the extra hitter. Some movement around the infield for Elmira. Put Martineau in this position as it's an outside ball from Barton. The Pioneers take back a 2-run lead on that RBI single, as it's a ball inside to Martineau. Americans last led in the 5th inning when they were up 2-1. Pioneers scored 3 unanswered, and the Americans cut the lead to 1, but the Pioneers bringing it back in this inning as Martineau takes the strike down the pike. Eight hits for the Pioneers. They've also reached twice on errors. As it's a low and away, ball 3, Austin Barton. If he walks Ty Martineau, would be his 4th walk of this inning. Already gave up a run as well. And he checks on the runner at second. And then that is strike 2. Finds the low edge of the zone. Martineau thought he had a walk, but Shane Starr will toss him back his bat. Full count, 2 down, and 2 runners on. Austin Barton in a huge moment to try and keep the Americans within striking distance. Runners go on ball 4, and it's bases loaded. Here in Elmira with 2 down. The Pioneers can really break this open. They won 8-3 yesterday, and they have potential run number 8 on first base now as Shane Starr comes up to the plate. 0 for 3 with a strikeout. As Barton looks to get out of this without any further damage. A big cut and miss for strike 1. Shane Starr. We'll see how he adjusts here after taking that first pitch, swinging and missing. And that is inside at the legs of Shane Starr for ball 1. Barton with the count even. It's a foul tip to make it 1-2 as Barton will come off the mound to get the ball back from his catcher, Nick Past. Base is juiced. Shane Starr in a big moment for these Pioneers. Here's the pitch. And evens up the count on the low ball, 2. Bit of a shift here on Starr. And a swing and a miss for strike 3. Austin Barton gets out of the inning with just 1 run allowed. The Americans will send it to the 8th inning. We'll be right back.
Ever dreamed of playing catch right here at Sal Magley Stadium? Well, join us June 22nd for a post-game catch on the field.
Top of the 8th inning here from Dunfield. The Pioneers lead 5-3 over the Americans and bring their lead back to 2 after the run in the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Nolan Terwilliger taking over on the bump for Elmira after 2 innings from Bryce Mashanik. Terwilliger has struck out 2 on the year. His ERA still at 0. It's his 2nd year on the Pios. Last year went 2-3 with a 7.76 ERA and 13 punch-outs. And in this inning, we'll face Nick Pass, Paul Delanto, and Graydon Miller. Pass, the catcher, here today for the Americans. And gunned out John Simmons at second base. That helped matters despite a lot of walks by Austin Barton and a run scoring. But that long inning coming to an end on a second Shane Starr strikeout. Clearly was swinging for the fences with those bases loaded. Wanted to have a Paul Delanto, or Delanto rather, like moment. Had that grand slam against Geneva on Wednesday. And it'll be Nick Past up to bat to start things off here against Nolan Terwilliger. Passed 0 for 2 today, but walked. Struck out on one of those 2 outs. First pitch from Terwilliger is tipped foul behind Nick Past. Got a very small piece of it at the very, very top of the bat. Terwilliger delivers the 0-1 upstairs to even up the count. Nick Past looking for his first hit of the day. Had a couple last night against the Ironbacks. It's a pop foul. Let's put the count back in Terwilliger's favor. Terwilliger, easy to recognize with that bright blonde bleached hair. Bat over Past shoulder as he gets ready for the 1-2 from Nolan. Another foul tip behind him. He's been getting small pieces of these, and it's now extending this at bat, but no wiggle room anymore for Nick Pass. Either has to make contact or take it. Oh, he gets whacked right on the shoulder. So on base for the 2nd time today. The first was a walk. Now he gets hit. Nolan Terwilliger, 1 batter faced, 1 batter hit. And now it's Paul Delanto as Terwilliger looks for his first out. Delanto, one of the biggest bats in this Americans lineup. Him and Grant Moore leading the charge in pretty much every offensive stat. 364 hitter, 1122 OPS. Tips it foul for strike 1. Delanto leads the team with 10 RBIs. Evan Core also up there in those offensive numbers, but he is out today, working back at SUNY Niagara. This is 1-1 to Paul Delanto. Gavin Boyle, another SUNY Niagara product, expected to join the team on Monday after missing the first couple of weeks between seasons. Was a big hero in the Junior College World Series. Also had 4 homers for the Americans last season. But the 1-1 count right now on Delanto as he pops it up right over his head. It's now going back and nobody able to get there. It's 1-2 as it drops right behind home plate. Another one that came fairly close to the press box. As Manganiello gets back in position after chasing after the foul ball. Terwilliger checks on his base runner at first. Nick passed. But it's 1-2 to Paul Delanto, who looked to climb out of this hole. Has shown some good patience after a couple of strikeouts against Auburn following his game with the Grand Slam. Here's the pitch. And that does not find the strike zone. It's now 2-2. Paul Delanto looking for his first hit of the day. He did get on base with a hit by pitch. And that is in there for strike 3 on the inside edge of the zone. Paul Delanto striking out for the first time today. And his 7-game on base streak in jeopardy in this 8th inning. Rather, no, he did reach base on the hit by pitch, but here's Graydon Miller. Big cut and miss for strike 1. 1 on, 1 out. The runner is Nick passed. He got whacked to start things out here. But Terwilliger struck out his next batter in Delanto as he thinks about the pickoff attempt, but pass scurrying back. Now retakes his lead. Terwilliger readies for the 0-1, now delivers. Sent foul down the third base line. Past one at second, he'll have to wait. Pioneers up 5-3. Have scored runs in each of the last 3 innings. After the Americans led 2-1 through 4.5. That is in there for an inside strike 3. And now 2 consecutive strikeouts by Terwilliger after the leadoff man Nick Pass got on base. Carmen Panaro up next, trying to keep this inning alive for the Americans after consecutive strikeouts by Terwilliger. Terwilliger on the year now up to 4 strikeouts. He's doubled his total in just 3 batters faced today. Two down, 1 on, and Terwilliger again fakes the pickoff attempt to first base, scaring past into returning to his base. But Pass has a lead once more. Terwilliger delivers to Panaro. It's a big cut and miss for strike 1. He's been getting guys to chase on a number of pitches in this 8th inning. Delivers inside to make it 1-1. Fell in the dirt. So a little bit off target, but Terwilliger throwing very fast pitches out here, and it has been too fast for a lot of these Americans. And that is in there on the inside part of the zone to Terwilliger to send the Americans packing in this 8th inning. We'll be right back for the bottom of the inning after the break.
You know, I'm kind of thirsty. Me too. We could really use something. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
Back for the bottom of the 8th here at Dunn Field. Americans trail the Pioneers 5-3. In this 8th inning is sponsored by Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino, the official casino of the Americans. More winning, more comfort, more entertainment. Go to SenecaNiagaraCasino.com for more. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to the broadcast today, but remember that an Americans game is a great way to bring your group together, whether it's a school, church, business, or youth sports organization. Americans are able to offer lots of great options. Go to NiagaraFallsAmericans.com as Aiden Grabowski steps in, first batter of the inning. Takes strike one from Austin Barton, who is going for his second inning of work here. Grabowski sends it foul down the third base line. So now an 0-2 hole here against Barton. Americans struck out on 3 consecutive at-bats against the Pioneers reliever Nolan Terwilliger. Barton, it's popped behind home plate foul. Warmed up with Lucas Feldman to give Past a little rest, but a swing and miss for strike 3. Aiden Grabowski goes down swinging as Brooks Hicken steps in to face Barton. Barton looking to keep it clean in this 8th inning after a run allowed in the 7th. Further increasing his ERA, but that one by Hickens sent to Kiefer, and the throw to first in time by a good margin for out number 2. A 1-pitch out by Austin Barton. He was able to start off his outing with that, so now getting back on track, forcing contact right into the infield. And here is Ben Rohde, the last batter in the Pioneers order. Is 1 for 3 on the day. Has some great speed on him. Takes strike 1 down the pike. A little bit on the low end, but nonetheless, Barton throwing flames and hoping to strike out a batter right here in the form of Rohde. But an inside ball 1 to even up the count. Barton has struck out 2 thus far. And that is sent on the line drive into center field. Grant Moore will be there for the catch. 2 quick outs after the strikeout on the first batter, Grabowski. And we'll head to the top of the 9th. We'll be right back.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Back for the top of the 9th inning here at Dunn Field. The Pioneers lead 5-3, and this 9th inning is sponsored by Casella, as well as Salino Plumbing, Blaze Brockway Contracting, and Ripe Beverages, providing all your alcoholic beverage needs at the Beer Garden at Sal Magley Stadium. We thank Ripe Beverages for keeping Deb's Beer Garden up and running. And Nolan Terwilliger with the save opportunity here in his second inning of work. Hoping to hold off the Americans on one last chance at a comeback. And he will see Derek Jesmondi as well as Logan Stickler and Alan Ramos to kick off this 9th inning. The Americans can extend this inning further. Possible Connor Kiefer and Graham Moore can come up, and some great bats with some great speed. So Jesmondi, Stickler, and Ramos hoping to extend this inning and keep the Americans in this ball game. Terwilliger readies for the first pitch to Jesmondi. And that'll find the outside part of the plate for strike one. Jesmondi, redshirt freshman from Mount St. Mary's, using this summer to gain some steam in the portal. Liam Schott now serving as first base coach for the Americans as they throw ball 2 to Derek Jesmondi. Brady Toney now warming up for the Americans in case this game extends to the bottom of the inning. Even count to Jesmondi. The pitch from Terwilliger is sent into deep right field. But Gramesti will be there to make the catch for out number 1. Jesmondi hits it hard, but not quite hard enough, as he goes down on the fly out to right field, and Logan Stickler steps up to the plate next. 1 for 3, led off his day with a single. Also led off the 3rd inning with that said hit. Has struck out once and takes a strike right there down the pike. Low edge of the zone, but finds it. And that is another strike. Terwilliger throwing these right down the middle, and Stickler has not bitten yet. See if he swings on the 0-2 here. With Terwilliger throwing flames. Yes, he does. It's a ground ball to the shortstop, Grabowski, sent to first for out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down for these Americans. And next up is Alan Ramos, the last hope for Niagara Falls. He's 1 for 3. Also reached on an error, scored both times up. So 2 of the runs plated by the Americans sent home Ramos. Another one sending home Jesmondi. But here's Ramos, the Wagner commit, hoping to save the day for Niagara Falls. Takes strike 1. Terwilliger has been on fire in an effort for the save right here. And that one is sent on the line drive into right field. Gramesti will be there for the catch, out number 3. And the final score here from Dunfield, Pioneers 5, Americans 3. The Pioneers will go up to 500 on the season. The Americans fall to 7-3, but still safely in the playoff picture for the time being. And they will have another shot at a win. A tough test, though, on Tuesday when they head to Newark to take on the Pilots. And thus far this season, it's been the more central New York half of the West Division that has had the Americans number the Doubledays, sweeping them on Thursday and Friday, and then the Pioneers taking them down here at Dunfield today. Americans have now lost 3 of their last 4. And the Pioneers, on the other end of that, have won 3 out of 4 games for themselves. But that'll be all here on the broadcast today. We want to wish all the fathers listening one more big happy Father's Day. But the final score here from Dunfield, Pioneers 5, Americans 3. I've been your play-by-play broadcaster, Andrew Roberts. Tune in on Tuesday for Americans at Pilots. Thank you so much